So I've seen a bunch of different little TikToks and stuff of people using papercraft to make like D&D houses, which looks so satisfying, and I really wanted to give it a go. Now this looks very satisfying and it's very cool. I could picture a whole village being made of it, but my printer sucks, as you can tell, and there's no chance it's printing on cardstock. I'm not gonna print my house, I'm gonna paint my house. This video is sponsored by Ohuhu, who have sent me a whole bunch of their new acrylic paint markers. They go down on any surface. If I want blue, I can put it on here and look at that. Just beautiful, vibrant blue immediately on my paper. So we are going to make the same building, but a little differently, because I can just paint it on top. Now, this one is my trial one. I have never done this before. I'm hoping the results will help me overcome my crappy printer, which, as you can see, I have used to reprint the same template in black and white, and I've cut off all of the little foldovers that I don't need because I'm just working straight on the colored card. With those shapes traced down, it's just a matter of adding the details and features that are going to bring my little medieval house to life. Now, it's becoming clear to me, especially after I've sort of added the little shading, the areas between the structural beams, that this is going to be way more cartoony than the other one. I'm reserving judgment until we see the final result, but I can say as soon as we start working with colors, it's really clear what the strengths are. The other strength of this whole weird experiment is I get to just make the choices I want to make. I chose to have a nice blue tiled roof. Maybe for a different one I might have a nice light straw or a terracotta. It's now just a matter of cutting, folding, and satisfyingly gluing it all together. So obviously these results are extremely different. This is very classic D&D, like if you don't have a 3D printer and you want to do some D&D games on a budget, it's a fantastic option. My printer sucks, and maybe you want something with a bit more character, a lot more vibrant color, and a lot more freedom. I could see making an entire like Studio Ghibli style town with this paper style. So I'm gonna make some templates I can use to cut out and easily replicate the different house shapes that I have access to, so I can quickly make a bunch of different houses, and as you can see, they're going to be colorful and vibrant and all very unique from one another. This is going to be fun. Wait, we gotta go in the door. Sorry. And Amy is in the house to help me out because we have a bunch of different templates to cut up so that we can easily and quickly replicate a bunch of these different house shapes to make our medieval city. In the meantime, I've been scratching my head as to how to make this as replicatable as possible so we can go as big as we can in the time that we have. These are linoleum floor tiles, self-adhesive, which means, I'm so excited about this. I can just lay my house on the back of this floor tile, and now I can just cut this out and I'll end up with something thicker but easier to cut and super durable. This is perfect and pretty cost effective too. Let's make a city, shall we? I'm sorry, this is how we transition. My random discovery turned out to be the coolest thing ever. It was really straightforward for Amy and I to cut up all of the building templates that we could possibly hope to make and turn them into really solid templates that we can easily repeat. So if there's a building style we like, we can easily churn out a few of them on any color paper we want. So now that we have a variety of building templates, as you know, I want to make this project as big as possible, and to do that, I've got some help on hand. Because as they say, it takes a village to build a city. I wouldn't be able to get all that help without enough markers. Unfortunately, Ohuhu have sent me heaps. What's interesting, however, is that they're not all the same. Now, there's the kind of acrylic paint marker that you will have certainly seen on this channel before. They actually sort of come without the nib saturated. You have to pump to get the paint flowing, and then it all goes down. And if it starts to dry up a little bit, pump and keep going, right? What I haven't ever seen before is the kind of paint marker that just paints. This one requires 0 pumping and shows the level of paint visible so you can see how it's going. And if it starts to dry up a little bit, you can just give it a little shake, and then it juices right up all over again. Same level of opacity, and they work really nicely with each other, except frankly, these are really simple and easy to use. Like, they feel really nice. So we're all gonna get acquainted with the various markers we've been sent, and fortunately, we have enough to divide and conquer. But what can I do except for shove things at you, Benny?
Makes it pretty difficult to hold the camera.
Now I want to fill out the town sort of spatially a little bit, make it look nice and big, and to do that I picked a big building, and to switch it up I thought I'd do something with a bit more brick texture. A few different shades for the doors, and a little bit of metallics throughout, which gives it a surprising amount of pop. Then for the roof, just a really simple sort of brownish terracotta roof tile. And then with that stuck together, that's a nice big filler building, and I thought I'd move on to something that'll fill out a bit more of the height of our city, which I decided to make 2 of at the same time, so I could carry the same steps across the duplicates and be nice and efficient, but knock out 2 tall buildings. This one's got a few little featurettes, little wooden poppy outy bits, where I'll put in some nice vibrant blue windows, add some frame, and then it's onto the texturing of the blue tiled roofs.
I started out with some very simple templates. The first one, I decided to go for the Tudor look, and I gave it a nice poppy pink roof. I then decided to try out some stone buildings, churned out 2 at a time, but they both ended up looking really cool with their thatched roofs.
Much like Amy, I wanted a lot of the Tudor style buildings to be in this town to help populate the town with a lot of colour. And then for my second building, I went for a stone one, which will contrast it nicely. And I went for a cold purple roof.
The city is populating fairly quickly with a good variety of buildings, but there is nowhere for them to be on yet. So I have this lovely large green paper terrain base. I am gonna cheat a little bit. It's a paper build, but I'm gonna use foam that I can use to sort of build up to civilization, and a thicker layer on top for the castle to be on a hill. First things first, I need to map the layers of my terrain. This is all going to be stonework underneath, but will gradiate below the foot of its hill. I make sure to cut it out with as clean angles as I possibly can. Now this is a finicky process, a little trickier than I initially expected, but it is worth the extra time to make sure it all looks nice and crisp and cleanly folded. And as it all comes together, especially in the layers, it's really starting to look cool. Meanwhile, Murray and Amy have been working on sort of feature pieces. We have quite a few houses. I think it's time to add a little more character and personality to our city.
The 2-storey Tudor shop actually came with some extras like a chimney and something called a dormer roof, which added a few extra challenges here and there, but I was up for the challenge.
I wasn't satisfied with the country life of these little towns, so I went for, I think it's a chapel. It might be looking a bit foreboding, but then I decided to balance it with this sort of wooden shingled roof. And to give the idea that the wood's a bit old, I've mixed some greens, blues, and oranges into the roof to give it a bit of texture and life.
Now this is giving me a taste as to how awesome this is going to feel when it's all put in place. So cartoony and vibrant and fun, I love it. And all the more vibrant and punchy because of the markers we've been using. Provided to us by Ohuhu, who have sponsored this video. As many of you know, I am a huge fan of their alcohol markers, but Ohuhu's paint markers have really blown me away. And their new line comes in a huge variety, from their 24 Ohuhu set, which is a direct ink acrylic marker system, doesn't require pumping, and gives you that visual reference to see how much ink you have left. Now on the more traditional paint marker side, you have this amazing 24 color set of 48 markers, because every color comes in 2 sizes, fine and broad. The bullet nibs are actually reversible. You can flip them into a chisel tip. So technically you got 3 nibs in the one set. Then we have the acrylic paint cotton core 36 set of colors, and these are available as a dual tip marker in 3 different combos. Brush and dot, dot and fine, brush and fine. There is another set that I actually don't have in my hands yet. It's a 90 marker set. Oh my God, that would have been so useful for this project. Is that the door? How's that for timing?
Your clothes are black.
Hey, okay, so these Oh wow, that's a lot. These are the same kind of markers I actually reviewed the last time I did a video about the Ohuhu acrylic markers. We're all really enjoying these that you don't have to pump. The huge amount of different tip options for those is cool. These, color variety, insane now. We have so much to work with to finish our giant paper city. I think we need a landmark. It's castle time. Now my castle needs to fit the raised hill that I have, which actually there's not a lot of floor area, but that's okay. I'm going to build a very tall castle. And I do not have a template to work with because I'm gonna make my own. And with the parameters, sizes of my castle cut out to the sizes that I'm happy with, it's time to add some details and features. With a nice, big, glorious double door at the front, little side door for the kitchen or something. And moving on to adding those lovely blue windows and then on to the various details. By not drawing every single brick, it ends up creating a much more sort of textured look. In a weird way, it looks slightly more detailed than if you actually do draw every brick, which ends up looking just like a big grid. Now this is a castle. It has to look castle-y. So the next layer I'm going to expand out, have quite a bit of an overhang and create some battlements with the machicolations that will be running all the way around the border. The plan being to have 2 slanted roofs on either side of a central tower that will add another layer of battlements to the very top, having it continue to taper up but build its height in the center of the castle. Time to move on to those roofs, which I want to use a nice eye-catching red, that really commanding red feel, but also feels kind of soft and pastel in a really fun way. That I think this whole build, this whole vibe is really just cute and friendly. So we finish off that top story with our battlements going around and a really tall and sharply angled bell tower at the top with a really steep roof. Bringing our very pointy castle together to become the centerpiece of the town. Now the problem is, I don't know what the town looks like. They can't all just be clustered. We need to make a town that tells a story, that has a bit of light and shade and some areas of interest. A town square. Amy's made this really cool bridge that can go somewhere. At the moment, it's a bit of a cluster, but the next job is to lay it all out and then start to really add those details. Now I have to admit, organising this town was harder than I expected. But in the end, I found a really nice place for the church and all of the rest of the buildings. The next step is the ever-satisfying step of laying out the features throughout the town, starting off with the river that's going to wrap around the church and go past the front of the town so we can have a nice spot for the bridge to cross over to all of the farmland beyond. Then it's a matter of, bit by bit, picking up our houses, placing paper underneath with the house positions down, and sketching out where all of the walking paths would be going through town. And then we can't just have a rock and dirt filling in our town. I went and did the same thing, but this time with green, just making sure that there's a little bit of growth spreading out from the grassy hill which the castle is on. I am loving how this is looking, and now I'm going to trace around the bases of where all these buildings go, and then this is all going to be one clear, large foundation for me to start painting on some texture. Starting with the edges of the roads with this nice emerald green that's going to go all the way on both sides and make it all look a bit more organic and give it some depth. Before Ohuhu, I had never used paint markers with brush tips. These just feel so good because you get all the control of brush tip markers and all the opacity of paint pens. And as you can see, these opaque colors look really nice. Then of course we have our river, which I'll be using a lighter blue just to do some of those ripples along the edges and around some stones I might put in here and there. We need a name for this city. It's like Paparia. Cardtopia?
Cardiff.
Let me know in the comments what you think our city should be named. Putting all of these details in place really brings this whole world to life. And as fun and satisfying as painting on the terrain is, it really all makes sense when I can finally put all of the buildings back and add in some extra amazing little props that Amy's made for us. And the result is a paper medieval city that is bursting with color and ready for adventure. Oh my god, the result is just so charming. It feels like a Ghibli medieval city. This was so much fun and really simple. Paper, bit of paint, pencil and some scissors, and you can cook up some really cool stuff. I've had papercraft suggested and I've never done it before, and I can say this was a lot of fun, and it really just can go as far as your imagination and time can. I hope you've had as much fun as we have, and if you have, you know what to do. Hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more fun with art and creativity. That's it for now. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later. Massive shout out and thank you to Ohuhu for sending me this huge range of markers and for sponsoring this video. From the brand that creates my favorite alcohol markers, their range of acrylic markers has very quickly become quite versatile and really expanded its color variety.